Welcome to my channel. What are we doing today? Now today we are doing I think it's going to be mixed media. We'll be using these here. Now these are the watercolor pencils that I got in the deluxe drawing set. I should link put a video up somewhere when I did an unboxing of that set and show you how I got these pencils. Also, today we're also going to test this paper out to see if it could handle watercolor pencils. Now these watercolor pencils, I do have a swatch out. Sorry for the shaking, but I do have them swatched out here. Let me bring you guys out a bit. This is the swatch out of the deluxe drawing set. They're not as bright as you would like to imagine, and they don't swatch out completely. I'm just putting it back. I have it clipped onto my board here. There's still a lot of ghosting in it, but I want to use those, and I want to test this sketchbook here. I'm still working in this Honeymoon sketchbook, nostalgia sketchbook, and I did do a watercolor piece in it. I think the first piece I did was watercolor with the little frog. Let me see if I can get it. This one here. And as you can see, it buckles some, but it eventually flattened out. So I'm wondering if I could do the same thing with just watercolor pencils instead of watercolor. It's a curiosity, so I've divided my book into 4. I've made 4 little drawings on each. I am not sure if I'm going to do the same pencil with each drawing, but for today we're going to do fried fish. I don't know, I just decided that I think I was hungry, and so I started to think of food, and I did some quick little doodles of food. So now that you know what I'm doing, like I said, I'm not sure I'm going to do it mixed media because I'm also thinking of adding some colored pencils onto it. So let me hop into this and then let's see how this goes. Okay guys, let's start this off. We are first starting with a color called Jasmine, and it was at this point I realized that this set doesn't have a really bright brown. So what I'm doing is mixing foliage and cherry red together, hoping to produce somewhat of a brown, and I kind of succeeded, but I wanted that to be my undercoat. So what I'm doing with the Jasmine is just putting it over it because the Jasmine is kind of yellow and I didn't really want a yellow fried fish, so I'm just putting it under it, and then I'm using the number 6 Princeton snap brush to wash over with the mixture that I made of the cherry red and the foliage, just so that you know it can look somewhat of a bright brown. It was at this point I wasn't sure if I was going to do a mixed media piece. I'm using their gray, light gray, for the plate. Maybe it is a metallic plate, I don't know, but I'm just using a light gray because actually that's the only gray that came in the set. It's 28 colors and the only color that came with it is light gray. Now I am diffusing that a bit with the water with the same number 6 Princeton snap brush, and I'm now using the magenta. Interestingly, the magenta is kind of pink. I'm not really used to such a pink magenta. It looks kind of warm to me. It doesn't give me that nice cool effect that I would like with magenta, but that's the magenta that came in the set. And as you can see, the paper is already buckling. I'm using my heat gun here because I'm noticing the paper doesn't dry as quickly as I would like, especially in this very humid weather. And again, I'm going over that with another coat of that brown mixture that I made. I noticed that on my swatch, like I said, it does produce a lot of ghosting, so I'm trying to keep my strokes really light, and I'm doing multiple layers. I think I do at least 2 layers for many of them because it's not as bright as I would like. And even though me personally don't like bright colors. My art does. So I really need to be attracted to those. And I'm going over it with, again, another shot of the magenta. The other thing that is going on here is that I think you will see me diffusing it a bit and then going over it again with another coat of the jasmine, just so that I could get that brightness that I wanted. I think now I'm just using, I think this is the sepia. I want to create some of the definitions that I've had, and I'm using that sepia again, going over it again with that mixture that I made, and I use the sepia to kind of diffuse it a bit, just a little bit, because the sepia is really dark. Their sepia is almost black. So yeah, and the moon yellow that they have, which is supposed to be their lightest yellow, is also very bright. So I was like, okay, I need to take some of this color out. And now I'm using the actual yellow that came in the set, just to kind of hint of some highlights in the leaves. I'm using the foliage color, the same one I used for the mixture for the fish, to do for the greeny bits. I'm not sure if it's lettuce or spinach that's underneath my fried fish, but it's something underneath my fried fish, some kind of garnishment. And I'm diffusing it out now with using the watercolor effect, and to let that yellow mix with the foliage. Okay, so it's not separate. Going over it again because it doesn't give me the brightness that I want. And so I'm going over it again with the color. As you notice, I left one piece out because I already decided I was going to make it a mixed media piece. So that one little white tip that I left there is so that when I come in there with just non-water soluble color pencils, I'll just use it for that. This is for the eyes, and there you see me. I'm popping out my Paper Mate dual tip color pencils. Now I've had these color pencils since 2018. I bought them right here in the country of Belize, and they have been well loved and well used. And I'm using this now to create my definition, to go in there with the highlights, to show my shadows in areas, because I don't think I'll be able to create those with those watercolor pencils. They're just not bright enough, guys. And yes, the Paper Mate is not as bright as these, but it will give me the definition I need, and I don't have to go in there with watercolors or just leave it as that. As you can see, I'm using it now to rim the plate, and I'm also using it now to create some form of definition and shadows in my foliage with the colors. Now the Paper Mate don't have color names, so I cannot tell you the color names that are on them. What I did, I do color numbers. Guys, I will see you in the end piece. Okay, so yeah, this is it. We're done. I would have told you how I would have done it in the in the coloring piece where I dictated. I realized it was a bit kind of rushed because I like to do my voiceover piece in like one take. And so I only had it sped up to about 5 minutes or so because I didn't want to go over long. There's not much left to say. I think I said everything in the voiceover piece, even though it was kind of rushed. I kind of ended kind of abruptly, but I did get to say all the points I needed to say. The brush that I used for this, I should highlight the brush that I used, were the Princeton Snap. I used mainly the number 4 and the number 6 round. I didn't use any other brush with those, and I think it came out great, but because of the color, I think that it wasn't as bright as I want. I'm just thinking it, that what I'll do for the other 3 illustrations here, or doodles here on this, is I'll probably use other watercolor pencil, color pencils combination to see how those fare off on this paper. The one thing I should note is that there's very little buckling here. Please remember I did use a heat gun, but there's very little buckling and there is no see-through. So that's kind of good. And yeah, let me know what you think of this in the comments below. Have you ever done watercolor pencils and colored pencils combo? What was your experience like? Are there any hints that you can give me? What type do you like to use? I'm using more bargain friendly color pencils. Maybe you use some other kind of color pencils. Please let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this journey, and as always, stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.